We are rolling.
Yeah,
All right.
we're rolling like I do at every festival I attend. Ba, 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 ba.
Listen, first off, I just want to start off by saying I love you.
I love you too. I'm trying to, can't you see? I'm just trying to be just like you, man. I'm trying to grow this thing out, but I'm nowhere even close. I think the
Well,
hair from my head migrated down here while I was in the hospital.
whatever you need, any hair you need, if you need hair, head hair, if you need beard hair, if you need pubic hair, whatever you need, I got you. I'm
I
here
mean, the
for you.
pubic hair I do need just because I ran out of floss yesterday. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll send you. Do you the is it okay if like some of the ones like from like the back side? I mean, they may have dingleberries. That could actually help with the flossing.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to have those ones necessarily, only because
Oh.
I'm trying to have a low fiber diet. But if you need to, that's fine.
First off, ladies and gentlemen, I have the absolutely wonderful one of the greatest human beings, one of the greatest comedians. Yes, you. I'm talking
Oh,
to
oh,
you. One of the greatest comedians, one of the greatest inspirations. Um, this we've babbled in the past on my old IG lives. We've gone back and forth about a million things. We've connected over life. We've connected over the ups and downs. We've connected over laughing at everything.
yes.
We've connected over. If you don't know, Alex is he is a roast master himself. So if you don't know who he is, make sure you check him out on all his platforms. Get his book. I didn't get a chance. I saw you just uploaded a new blog today about.
Yeah.
We'll get into that because last year you had what was seemed to be a fun year. You had a lot of great things going on, and then you decide. Well, not you, I guess the earth or the energy or whatever it is decided let's throw a little bit of dingleberries at Alex.
Yeah, to say the least, that's kind of what this new blog focuses on is you never know what's coming next as you can plan everything. You can be having what I considered one of the greatest years of my entire life. I was touring like all these new comedy clubs. I got married to the woman I've been with for almost 20 years. It was
Congratulations.
just the Thank you. It was the most beautiful thing. And I mean, there were so many things that happened. I released a new comedy album. I put out my first song, like with a friend of mine that's a DJ, a producer, and all of these great things were stacking on top of each other. And little did I know the entire time there was cancer rapidly dividing inside, which basically started. I mean, I guess it's Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 3. So I first realized it was in my neck because I could feel my neck just going, bruh, 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 bruh. And yeah, and then life just decided. I know things are going really well. Let's see how much you can take, Alex. And essentially the last 6 months have just been a cavalcade of shit that I have been navigating through as best as I can while keeping a smile on my face.
I'm very sorry for the loss of your father.
Thank
He
you. That's one
he
of them.
he I loved what you wrote about him. Again, when people pass away, loved ones, family members, it's a horrible thing, but the way you did it, and I like the way you respected about his feelings about death and about the way that it is. When my father passed away, he told me beforehand, he said, if anybody's crying at my wake, he says, throw them the fuck out. He said, that's what he said. It should be about the celebration of life. Yes, you're gone. We all live a life. We're all going to go, but it should be about a celebration of life. Talk about the good times. Talk about the fun things. Like I said, tell me a little bit about your father because I loved what you wrote about him. The way that he handled everything. The way that he, not that he didn't care, but he didn't care in the traditional way that, like you said, about the money that he enjoyed. He made sure that the family enjoyed themselves at all times.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you this. I am a perfect collision of my mother and father. All of my animatics and crazy energy, and my, things like that, the way I play with my voice, that is all my mom's theatrical side. She is very animated. And then my dad is quiet, reserved, but completely sarcastic and hilarious whenever he wants to be. And his whole thing was just you know, if I have money, I'm going to spend it, but not just on myself, on the people that I love around me. Like he would always pick up the check. He would always, he like, you know, every vacation, he would just splurge and go nuts. And I mean, he was, you know, he was in the construction business his entire life, commercial remodeling, which if you were alive in the 80s, I mean, this is those cocaine fueled years when like you can't even stop the bills from coming in and you are just chucking them out as fast as you can. My dad used to go to Vegas every 3 weeks, and he had a $50,000 credit limit at multiple hotels. And he was like, oh, they used to give me everything for free. I saw Elvis in the front row. I'm like, yeah, Dad, because you were losing a fuck ton of money. Of course they gave you everything for free. But that's just the way he lived. Is he never thought I should save for a rainy day. He just thought if it's coming in, then let's find a way for it to go back out. And because of that, I'm probably going, like, he only died a month ago. I'm probably going to get absolutely nothing from it. I don't think I use the word estate very liberally here, because at the end of his life, he didn't even own his own house. My mom and stepdad had bought it from him so he wouldn't have to move out, because he was living on like social security checks. But the thing is, what he taught me is just hedonism, but like in a responsible way. For, you know, and I mean, he was irresponsible in lots of other ways. I mean, I did find out, I asked him a lot of questions at the end of towards I didn't know it was going to be the end of his life. I knew he had health problems. He was 79, but I was asking him a lot of very personal, detailed questions about his life, and he admitted to me that he just, like, you know, he did a lot of cocaine. He never once did a psychedelic, which I was like, you chose so wrong, Dad. But self-reflection was not part of his life. He never really went deep inside himself and thought like, oh, have I hurt people? Have I treated like, you know, women and friends in a disrespectful way? That wasn't, he just didn't really like to analyze like that. He just kind of kept moving forward, and that was his thing. I mean, I learned a lot from him. I also learned a lot to not do from him, and a lot of that is just, he never really, like, I know he hurt, like, you know, certain people, and not physically or anything like that, but just in an emotional way of just really not caring about them as much as they might have cared about him. And that's something that I saw and was just like, well, that's not going to be me. I'm going to show love towards everyone. And he did have a lot of love inside him. He just didn't always know how to express it or feel the need to express it to people that were not immediately in his circle. But that being said, he lived the life he wanted to. And I think he did it in a way that overall was pretty harmless toward the, you know, the outside world. So I have to respect that he did what he wanted. I could have a lot of money right now, and I don't. But that's okay. He didn't think I should leave a lot to my kids. He thought I should throw everything at them now, give them an amazing childhood, and then they can figure out how to do it for the rest of their lives.
It's and again, you learn from that. You take away, like I said, you're still in the processing. It's only been a month, so you're still trying to process. And again, you've had quite a bit going on these past 6 months or so. So it's
yeah.
But the thing that I absolutely love about you, and I've loved about you, and I will continue to love about you, is going through this. And this is something that you and I have connected on. I see, like, you post up stuff you were talking about, how you know everyone's name at the hospital. You know our life, and you know the way that we live, and it's a different thing. But you don't understand. I mean, people who don't understand that it's not something you ever want to do. But when you get into an environment like that, healthcare workers, nurses, the people who take care of you, they are some of the greatest people in the world. Most of them. I mean, every now and then you come across the one or two that's like, okay, just stay away from me. I don't want you today. But you just, so many new people in your life, and you're taking on a new energy. And you have, again, every right to be mad. You have every right to be angry. You have every right to be pissed at the universe for what's been going on. And you choose not to. Now, I know for me personally, you portray a lot of it. You do talk about the pain and what, the ups and the downs, but you balance it more to the positive because that's what you want to get out there. And is that, I know from my experiences, that's healing for me. But at the same time too, I've also been working a lot with mental health, with everything. My wife and I watched Stutz the other day, the Jonah Hill documentary on Netflix.
I've heard it's great. I haven't seen it though.
I suggest it. It was beautiful because my wife and I watched it the other night. We talked about it with my 16-year-old daughter. And then 2 nights ago, my wife and I and my 16-year-old daughter sat down and watched together and took notes. And I thought it was a wonderful thing because we go through a lot in this house too. And it's just a wonderful thing whenever you can learn how to help yourself through something. There were some things that I already knew in there, tools that I had used. They were refreshers. They were new ways of looking at things. And that's what you have to do, because again, you have every right to be pissed at the world right now. You have every right to, why me? And that was something when I started going through everything with my son, 20 something years ago. Somebody gave me a book. I'm not a religious person, but it was a religious book, and it was basically, and it said, why me? And it was basically going over the fact that you really can't question that. And that I've always held on to, that why ask that question? Because you're not going to get the answer. You can harp on it. You can try to think about, did I do anything? Why is this person, why is their life going so well? And why is mine here? You can try to compare, or you can just look for the humor in it. You can make a joke about it. Like I said, I've been talking about on here, people who know my humor, I joke about what my son goes through. I joke about his seizures. I joke about his scoliosis. Am I making fun of people that go through those things? Absolutely not. It makes our day a little bit easier. It makes our life a little bit easier. And I love the fact that that's what you're showing too, because I know you're going through pain. It's not easy. It's not easy when you're on there and you're smiling. And a lot of times too, whenever we do get on these things, this right now is therapy for me. I've been wanting to talk to you for so long. Before all this happened, I was trying to get the Babble going, and then I saw everything happen with you, and I was like, ah. And then I was just like, you know what? Now is the right time to talk to Hooper, because he is the right person that can help teach how to get through not one bad thing, not 2 bad things, not 3 bad things. When it's all sitting on top of you, you can still laugh at it.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right about all of that. I think from the outside world, to a lot of people, they probably just, I look batshit crazy to them because I'm in the hospital, but I'm trying to make like funny videos and things like that. And the thing is, whatever you see me do on social media, especially, that means I'm in a good place if I'm posting that day.
Yes.
There were weeks where I didn't touch my phone when I was in the hospital because I couldn't look at what was happening in the outside world. I mean, I couldn't even focus on what was happening. I can't go into exactly, I don't want to go into exactly what happened to me to put me in the hospital for 33 days, but basically an infection formed from the portacath I had, which a portacath is this little port that they do a surgery and they install into your chest so that they can just stick a needle in there and give you the chemo direct, instead of you having to wear what I have now, which is called a PICC line, which then that thing, that this is exposed. The portacath was not, it's under my chest, but that got infected and caused a plethora of problems to happen. And that's why I ended up in the hospital. And that's as much as you can, conject about whatever it was. Just know it was bad. If you're in the hospital for a month, it's bad. And there were a lot of moments where I did say, why me? You have to have those moments, because I started like racking my brain, like thinking like, I've been a good person. Where did I go wrong? Is there someone that I really hurt along the way that now all of this is happening? And as things kept I kept thinking this is the bottom, and then something else terrible would happen. And I just think that the way I was hit all at once was, obviously it's not purposeful. I don't believe that the universe is just like, here we go, you can handle it, right, Alex? But I do think that it's almost a blessing to deal with so many things at the same time that are going wrong, because then when you get out of it, you have so much more perspective. And instead of me getting a tiny little break and then another bad thing happening, they just kept expanding. I mean, I was in the hospital, and that's when I found out my dad died completely unexpectedly. Just another, and that's what life felt like. It was like, where is the joy? Where are the good things? Where is the abundance of riches that is supposed to be shining down on me for being the person that I am? And even that, though, is not a positive way of thinking, because then you're going, well, I deserve this now. I don't deserve anything, but all I can do, and all anyone can do, like, is push forward through the pain, knowing there will be moments of bliss at some point again, and just trying to not have them be fleeting and try to live in those moments of joy, remembering that, like, okay, yes, I'm in the hospital. Yes, I have cancer. Yes, my dad is dead, blah, 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 blah. But I still have this beautiful network of people that are caring about me, that are still here. And no one has turned on me. No one is causing this to happen. This is just an unfortunate series of events that I have to deal with. And when I look at it that way, I am able to laugh at it, because people say, like, oh, that's terrible. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's also pretty funny, as like, I mean, when you go through health problems, people don't know what to say to you. All they can say is, I'm sorry. Nobody knows why it's happening. And it's everyone's biggest fear, right? Is they look at you and they go, oh, what if I had a son who had Jaden's issues? That would be terrible. So they look at you and they try to feel sympathy. They try to feel, but a lot of what they feel is pity towards you. And you can't control that. So all you can do is be the person that's above the pity and look right back at them and go, yeah, but on the other side, life is still pretty good. And when we say things like that, people are like, how are you doing this? I went out for the first time last night, to comedy clubs. I've been going out a little bit to restaurants, seeing a couple friends here and there, but I was on this antibiotic, that, like, an intravenous antibiotic, since I got out of the hospital 3.5 weeks ago. So I was attached to a fanny pack. I had these long tubes that would get caught on things when I walked, and I didn't want to go out to clubs worrying about this bag, these antibiotics. So I waited till it came off. It came off yesterday. I went back out, and that was the main sentiment, is just like, I don't know how you pushed through all that and were able to smile. And I was like, well, what's the fucking other option? What else? What do you want me to do? You don't see the amount of tears that have poured out of my eyes in the past 6 months. I don't show you that as much, just because I don't think it's helpful. I'll tell you about it. I'll write about it. I'll make jokes about it. But I don't want to be one of those people on social media that's like, everything's falling apart. Like, no, because there is inspiration everywhere. And if I have this little audience that has, and it's not so little, it's a good size, that will actually listen to what I say and watch me go through this and say, okay, if this happens to me, remember how Alex dealt with it and responded to it? Maybe I can be that person too. This is really messed up. But a couple people told me, they're like, whoa, if anyone's going to get cancer, it's probably good that it's you. And they mean that as a compliment.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
But I'm like, that's a terrible thing to say to somebody. But they mean it as, because you have the wherewithal to be able to rise above it and react to it without letting it tear you down. So that's what I've tried to do as the shitstorm cavalcade rained upon me, is I just say, well, where are the good things and what can I do to bring myself back to where I was? So this just becomes a strengthening part of my story, instead of the, well, this is where it all fell apart, and after that he never came back.
I've had you said something very interesting about, like the people in your circle that support you, that means so much to you. I've had a lot of people ask me a simple question. It's a weird question, and at first I wouldn't answer it, or I would answer it a different way. But now I've come to realize people always say, "Well, if you could go back in time and change everything." Well, yes, of course. If my son didn't have to go through the past 20 something years of sickness every single day and our family going through it, of course. But at the same time, I changed my thought on that. This is the life that I was given. These are the cards that I was dealt. And in a weird way, I'm not grateful for what my son goes through, for what my family goes through. I'm grateful for seeing life through a set of eyes that I never would have thought that I had. Before my son got sick, I had this golden plan of the house, the cars, the retirement. Everything was perfect. Everything was absolutely perfect. And then my son got sick and everything went downhill. Lost the bank accounts, lost the house, lost everything. And you go through, of course, that phase. Why me? How can this? Why? And then you really realize I didn't need that. I didn't need the Porsche that I was building in the garage. We didn't need the big house that we were fixing up. I still live in my mother-in-law's house. We still live in the attic of my mother-in-law's house. That's a lot of great material right there. Let me tell you, I can get up on stage and tell it. That's what you have to do. You have to find the humor in it and you have to laugh at it. Again, if I could change it, no, I wouldn't, because I've met people and I've seen things in life that I know that I never would have. And I see a different side of life that I know has made me a better person. That may be a little self-righteous to say, but I am a better person, I think, than what I would have become on the path before my son got sick. As odd as that may sound, it's weird. Like I said, life throws this at us and we just have to decide how to deal with it. And you said too, what other choice do we have? Yes, you can lay down and give up. People do that.
Yep.
It is a choice. Not saying that those people are weak, not saying that those people can't handle it. It's when you go through things, and again, what I go through, what you go through, what so many different people go through, everybody carries that weight on their shoulder differently. But like you also just said, a very important thing, by putting out to the world how you're handling it, maybe there's somebody out there that hopefully they'll never have to deal with it, but a fan of yours may someday get cancer, and maybe not knowing what you went through, unfortunately, yes. I don't want to put that out there, but unfortunately, yes. And like you just said, they will be able to look back. Maybe they would have went into it going, I quit, I give up, that's it. Okay, I accept my fate, it's over. I'm not going to do anything, doc. Then they may go, wait a second. I remember when Alex went through this. I remember it was a pain, but at the end of the day, he was able to get through it. Yes, the days are rocky. Some days are horrible. Some weeks are horrible. It's like you said, that, like, okay, today's a bad day. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. Okay, tomorrow's not better. Tomorrow's worse. Okay, maybe the next day. Okay, right, and then like you've been there, like, okay, it's been a week now. It's been 7 days now. It's been 10 days now. And you just got to find the humor. And then going back to that Stutz real quick, you got to watch that Stutz thing. It's got a lot of great things. And it basically reminds you of one thing. No matter how cloudy, when you look outside, remember, the sun is always shining above the clouds. No matter if it could be a stormy day, a horrible day, if you get on a plane and go through those clouds, the sun is there. You can't forget that the sun is always there, and it'll shine on you again. Like I said, it could be hours, it could be weeks. We know that. We know that. Sometimes it's not just a day of hell. It can be a month of hell. It can be months of hell.
Yeah.
But know that the sun is going to shine again. Know that you can know that you can, and I'll put this out there too, and I know you put it out there too. Anyone listening to this, I'm pretty sure you can reach out to either one of us. I think I'm safe in saying that you can reach out to anything you're going through in life. I get people all the time in my DMs, hey, nothing to compare to what you're going through. And I'm sure you hear that a lot too. And it's like, okay, listen, we all carry different weights. If I can help you with the way that I deal with it, with what you're dealing with, which may be completely different, then fine. Maybe I can learn something from you. I'm learning from you right now. It's always a learning thing. It's always, what tools do I have to make my life better, to make those around me, to make our life better?
Yeah, and I mean, I completely agree with you. And like, I learn a lot from you as well. And one of the things that I think people don't understand that I have realized in this process is, it is one thing to be the person going through the issues and dealing with the pain and trying to figure out how you move on from this. But the people that are directly adjacent to that person have the exact same level of pain and, you know, trying to comprehend, how do I help this person? And I honestly, what I've realized, the way, because my wife was in the hospital with me every single day. She essentially like moved in there. She stopped things in her life just to, because she wanted to be with me every day. She didn't have to. She didn't have to visit every day. I had my mom was there for a little bit. My brother and his wife were there for a little bit, but she still came every day. And I think the people that are directly adjacent, they're not feeling like the actual physical pain of it, but they're watching someone they love go through it. And that in many ways is more difficult than actually having to go through it. And so I think, you know, both of us have this perspective of, I'm currently like in this world of, you know, cancer, pain, you know, knee surgery, all of these things, but you don't know when Jaden's just going to have a seizure and go down again. You don't know when you're going to have to go back to the hospital. So you live in this world where you just need to be as loving and caring as you can, even though you're not the one having the physical symptoms. And both sides are extremely hard, and it is going to be very difficult to navigate whatever side you're on. But like, this is going to sound weird, but I'm thankful this is happening to me and not my wife, because having to take care of her and watch her go through it, there is a level of pain there that I still can't fully comprehend because I'm not there. I'm on the other side of it. And like you said, people can reach out to me. So many people have, and a lot of them do say like, I don't want to compare what you're going through. And it's like, hey, if you stubbed your toe today and that was the worst part of your day, then so be it. And that was what you're going through. It doesn't have to be like, so many people love to do that. I don't want to like think like I don't care. I really don't. Like, whatever it is that happened to you, maybe your car got repossessed. I don't know, but you're going through something and you have to find a way to get to that other side, even when the ocean becomes too viscous to swim through and you know, you're just literally just moving at the speed of molasses. But if you don't believe things can get better, then they won't. And that is the hardest thing to just tell myself. When I was getting these, like, you know, when I was in the hospital, I would get these MRIs, and because I had like full body edema, I was swollen all over the place. My legs weren't working properly from being in a hospital bed for too long. They would give me these MRIs and twist my leg into this position, and then you have to stay like that for an hour. And I would just cry and cry. And then just like, what do I do with this? And I remember one day I was crying. I was only like 20 minutes through this process, and I realized that I looked at the name of the machine. Like, the giant MRI machines are huge. They look like little like space rockets or something like that, like an escape pod. And I realized the name it was called a somatom, SOMATOM. And through my tears, I just started going, ground control to somatom, and singing this song. And the techs that were running this thing must have thought I was insane, because I'm sobbing, but trying to sing a song to put myself in any other place. And you have to find these little mechanisms that you can cope to help you cope when you're going through this. And maybe for you, it's knitting. Maybe it's playing cards with a friend. Maybe it's, you know, just going out and sitting in the sunshine, meditation, whatever it may be. You need to find these little things when you're at your absolute dealing with the worst pain to remind you that things are okay. And singing that song reminded me of all these beautiful moments in my life that I've had with my friends, and just having, and my, you know, that's what I needed in that moment. Did it help the pain go away? Not really, but it helped my mind focus on something else for at least a couple of minutes while I was dealing with this. And, you know, it all sucks. I think, you know, I'm the first one to admit, yeah, this isn't fun. I don't like having to go to doctor's visits all the time. Obviously, I don't want to be in the hospital. I don't want to take time away from my career, but it's happening. And so we need to learn from whatever we're going through. And if we just keep throwing it away, then we're not taking the time to actually process it. And as hard as it is, it's so important for you to understand that, like, hey, look, it is happening and you can't change it. So what are you going to do about it?
And laughter. And are you getting back on stage tonight?
Yeah, I actually judged roast battle last night I didn't know I was going to do that, but I showed at the Comedy Store, and Brian Moses was like, do you want to judge? And I was like, he's like, Alex, where else are you going? What do you have to do? And that's an environment where I'm so comfortable, because it's just that I've been in that room thousands of times. It's a second home to me to be at the Comedy Store. And it felt really, really good just to get behind a mic and just spit, you know, roast jokes off the dome to these battlers. And yeah, tonight I'm actually doing stand-up, and I'm very excited. It's weird. I'm not anxious or nervous at all, just because I'm like, oh, I'm afraid to do a show in front of 30 to 40 people with new jokes that might not work. What am I afraid of? Their silence? Bitch, do you know what I have been through? Like, I don't care anymore. And that is a beautiful place to be when you are going through any sort of illness or hard time, is the perspective changes. And I don't give a shit what you think of me right now. I have other things to worry about. So I hope these new jokes work. I hope I don't get up there and don't eat a dick. But if I do, shove it in my mouth and let it come, because that's obviously, I got to go through that too. Stand-up is not riding a bike. Going back on stage and doing this again is difficult. I've had to retrain my brain so much in the past few weeks, and just writing every day has really helped, because I was having trouble retrieving words. I'll say this in the cleanest way I can. I had some strokes. That's one of the complications that was going through in the hospital. So like at one point I didn't even know my own name. And when you go that far down the rabbit hole of confusion, coming back, you can't just like I can't just like pluck the word I need directly. But the reason I'm speaking so coherently right now on this podcast is because every morning I get up and I type at least one page of journaling, and then I try to write other things every single day, just to keep myself in practice and remember how to do these things. And that's going to help me on stage. I'm not as quick as I used to be, but I will be soon. You know, I just have to get up and do it again.
Listen, you're coming back stronger. You've learned so much. Again, you had the perspective, you had the insights, you had it figured out. I've said it a million times. I follow people. I don't get out much, again, because of, you know, Jaden and the health issues. We're still, you know, we still got to be very cautious, and you need to still be very cautious and take care of your health too.
Sure.
But we don't get out much. So I live vicarious through people. Like Burning Man. Oh my God, when you were at Burning Man, I couldn't get enough of it. So you got to get back there this year. You better be back there, I hope.
I'm hoping so. I mean, we're not really sure what's happening with our lives right now, because we have other plans. And while, you know, festivals are such a huge part of my life and have been for a long time, I'm also like, well, what else is out there? And I know I'll go back to Burning Man. We were going to go back this year before all this happened, but it's one of those things where it will always be there.
Let me ask you this. Now, like you said, going through what you're going through, is this slowing Alex down? Because the Alex that we all knew before all of this was the wild Alex. Now, not saying you're still not going to be the wild Alex, you're still going to be the wild Alex, but is there going to be a change now because of the way you look at things?
Yeah, I mean, I just like, I look at this way, right? Is I have had so much fun in the past, 10, 12 years or whatever, of growing and expanding who I am and going to all these wonderful places and stacking up drug after drug in a weekend of partying to the point where I almost never come down. Like, but then I realized, like, I don't need that for happiness. I was doing that because I was young and having fun, and I was never hurting myself. Like, I never got to a point where drugs were affecting me in a negative way. But I realize now, like, okay, I don't need to take 2 hits of Molly and shove a bunch of ketamine in my nose to have a fun night at a festival. I can go somewhere and just experience what is happening around me. Like, right before I went to the hospital, I went to just a like a one-nighter event that a DJ I love, Lane 8, was playing, and all my friends, pretty much all my friends, were doing that kind of stuff, and I just smoked a giant joint. And even still, I'm still putting myself in an inebriated state. But that is something that before, I would have been shoving powders in my nose or whatever and running around like a crazy idiot. And now realizing I don't have to do those things, because that's not necessarily helping me grow. At a time, it was kind of breaking me out of my shell. But now, when you've done that for 10 years, you just think of different ways that you can experience these environments that will be more beneficial to you. So will I still be wild and crazy and have a lot of energy? Yeah, I can't turn that off, but I'm
Yay!
just doing it in a different way that is more helpful to my growth and where I want to go.
That's and that's all we can do. We can learn and we can grow, no matter how old we are, no matter what we go through. It's always about learning. It's always about making our lives better, our environment better, those around us better. Big shout out to your wife. I mean, that's again, being the caregiver. It is a tough thing. It's not easy to sit there, but you do it. That's the only reason for that is love. That's the only reason is love. That's
Yeah.
it. That's love, period. That's
Well,
it.
that's a big part of it, is we want to have a family, and we don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but we know that is a part of our future. And so I can, like, what I've realized is some of these festivals, like, I work at, like, I produce comedy for them, or I go and do stand up, and I go into these environments, but I don't need to be partying until 7 a.m. to enjoy myself, especially like if I have a family of some, I can go and do the work and then return. And one beautiful thing about the career path that I have chosen is that I'm never going to stop traveling to some degree. I may not be going on like month-long tours or anything like that, but I will still get to go out all the time because it's part of who I am. And there will be months where maybe I'm working on a TV show or filming something or writing something, and then I'm at home all the time. But the lifestyle I've chosen, it doesn't need to be a party lifestyle, but it will always be an exploratory lifestyle. And I think that will only help me raise a family, just because I have a broadened perspective of what happens around the world, as opposed to just my own little microcosm that most people live in.
Yeah.
Most people, like, there's an old quote, you've never met a well-traveled racist, and it's once you start going places and you see how other people live, it's impossible to not feel empathy for every single person. So I don't want to stop that, but I do know that, my life will change. Obviously, when you have a family, things are going to change. I don't know exactly how, but I do know that slowing down that part of my life that has just been like, dude, I can get more fucked up than anybody and still go to work at 7 a.m. the next day. Watch this. I don't need to do that anymore. I did it. And I proved to everyone that I could do it. If you look up, I worked at Universal Studios for 12 years, and I never, ever showed up late or called in sick if it wasn't for a career related reason.
Yeah.
And I would show up sometimes. I would do like, it would be like 6:30 a.m. I would do one more line and stand up and be like, I got to go to work, everybody. And they'd be like, what? What do you mean you have to go to work? And I'm just like, I got to go to work. And then I would go and just be delirious and loopy. Usually I was a ticket salesman. I would have the best sales days of my life those days because I didn't care about anything and I was the goofy idiot. But those days I did them. And sometimes you need to realize, like, I got to let go of that part of me because I've already proved to myself that I could do that. And now we're in a new place. Also, as you know, as you get older, recovery takes a little bit longer than it used to. And I need some time in between what I'm doing to be able to refocus and recalibrate my brain and body so I can keep going forward at some sort of accelerated pace. So, you know, I'm a lot more focused now, a lot more. I've slowed myself down in a way that I never would have had I not had this experience of cancer and hospital and all that stuff. But I'm also still driven and ambitious. I just need to figure out exactly what to do with that now that I'm, in this different place.
I am absolutely looking forward to the next chapter in what's going to be next for you because it's exciting. Again, you were on a path, the path got changed, and now it's exciting to see because now that path I think I see is going to take off even more. I just see a lot more great stuff because again, you're looking at life differently. You're going to focus on things differently. And love. You've always had the love, but now I think the love is going to even be more. And that's important. That's
everything. That's everything. It's not about where you go and what you do. It is always about the humans that surround you. And it doesn't matter where you are, what you are doing. If you're not doing it with people that you love, then honestly, you're never going to reach this peak of actual joy. And that's what one thing I maintained in the hospital is I'm in a unique position. Whereas, and I say this with all the love in the world, if my brother got cancer, there'd be like 20 people probably that would reach out and be like, dude, I heard, I'm so sorry. You were so healthy. Like, I'm here for you. And that's great. He lives a different life. I had over 1,000 people reach out to me while I've been going through this, sending me all these messages of support. And if I can't appreciate the fact that I have built a network like that, then I'm wasting my own time. And I need to step back and go, wow, I'm a lucky dude that I have been able to give out all this love. So at a time when I needed it most, it came showering back on me in this very cleansing fashion.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot, but a lot of times over the years, like in the hospital with Jaden, we've had hospital stays that have been days long, weeks long, months long. And I know, like you said, there are times that you're going through it and you don't want to post anything up because maybe you're not feeling good, or maybe you're just like, screw it, we're having a bad day, I'm going to post it up to put it out there. But like you said, the one thing that I always am grateful for is when you would post up something about whether it was a good day or whether it was a bad day. Whether it was a good day, I would get a lot of good feedback. When it was a bad day, though, the love and support. I mean, there were posts I'd post up and I'd get over 1,000 comments, sending love, and they, a lot of people are just like, oh, sending love. What is it? It means that person took the time to think. Even though they just typed something, they put that energy out, and that's what's important. Even if they just put a prayer hands, even if they just put a heart, whatever they put, it's an energy that we feel, and it does. It helps, and you can have those days where it's just horrible, and it's just one comment. It may not be a long, drawn out, heartfelt thing. It could just be one comment from one person, and it just gives you something. It gives you hope, and sometimes that's all it is. It's just that little sliver of hope that we're going to get through this. And we forget. That's the thing. When we're going through hell, we forget it's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. And like I said, we go back to that. It can last for long periods of times, but eventually you hopefully will see that sun again.
that's the love hate part of social media. That's the love part, right? Is
Yes.
that's when I go, oh, that's right. There's this part of it too. There's not just the shamelessly putting myself out there and looking at other people's lives and going, why am I spending any time at all doing this? It's those moments when you go, oh, when I see that on someone, when I see someone else's struggle on there, yeah, I do a little sending love. I do a little and all that because I know that it means that just someone just, like you said, they saw it and now they're thinking about you for even a glimpse of a moment. But that's enough for you to go, okay, there's a person that I've connected with in some way, in a meaningful way, because they're taking 1 second of their life to shine it back onto you. And I like to say I'm a reflection of those I surround myself with. And whatever you're giving to me is hopefully what I'm portraying back. And when I think about that, it really helps me show empathy toward anybody that is going through any good moment. Even if it helps me when I feel moments of jealousy, because that's going to happen too. I'm sure you look at a family that's just running, on a soccer field and go, oh, I'll never be able to do that with my son. And there's a moment of jealousy, but then you go, wait a minute, but that's not my story. I'm glad that that family has that. I'm glad that this person is selling out theaters that are selling a TV show when I started doing open mics with them 10 years ago. I'm happy for them, but I let myself feel that twinge of jealousy to go, oh, I wish that was me, because that's human. And if you're like, don't compare yourself to others, good fucking luck, dude. Like, you can say that all you want, but for me, I'm like, no, let yourself do it for a second, but then realize that you have things that they would want as well. And then you can kind of move forward and be happy for that person. And I just think that's so important, to allow yourself to have your feelings. Don't shove them in a box and put them away as if they weren't real. Go through them and then find a way to make them more positive.
Yeah, it's everybody goes through it differently. Everybody handles it differently. Uh, I I love I love you. I started off by saying I love you, and I'm gonna say it again. This has been the ups and the downs, trying to figure out how I was going to do this podcast, how I was going to get things going. We've been doing a lot of family stuff here on the couch. I get my wife, and sometimes we get my son down here. My daughter has been an insane help with this, getting everything going, really keeping me focused. She's been my inspiration. She's been my 16-year-old daughter has been keeping me, because again, like you said, there are the days when it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know. But if you touch one person, if sitting here and talking by myself, talking with you, talking with my family, posting it up on YouTube, putting it out there, it's just that one comment sometimes. That's all it is. It's that one comment. It's that one view. It's that one comment. And you go, you know what? It's worth it. It's all worth it. I may not have 1 million followers, may not get 1 million views. It's that one though. And you're making a difference. And that's important. And that's what you have to remember. You don't have to change you don't have to touch the masses. You don't have to change the world. Just do what you do it in a good way, put a positive energy out there, and you're doing good. You're doing great. That's a good life. It's that
Yeah, and
simple.
I think something important that you touched on is also find an outlet. Because you're going to need that when you're going through very difficult moments, is have some way to get away from it that is healing to you in some way. Like I said before, even if it's just you sitting with a Rubik's Cube all day or something like that, and taking your brain to another place so you're not thinking about the fact that your grandmother has dementia, whatever it may be, find something that works for you, that takes you away from everything, just to your own little space. Bearded Dabble is a great space to do it, and if you find that, it's a lot easier to kind of just like compartmentalize what you're going through, so that you're not always living in this shitstorm that is coming down at you.
Now, how important is it to you to write this down, to talk about it, to get it out, and to not keep it in?
Well, I don't have a podcast anymore. As you know, I had one, like I did like 135 episodes, a podcast that was very similar to this, where you're talking about dark issues within your life, your biggest struggles and things. And I miss that a lot. So doing this helps a ton. I just feel like
So when are you
I'm not
coming back?
I'm not bringing Achilles heel back, at least not anytime.
Okay.
I feel like
Okay.
I did. I did 135 episodes of that, and that is 135 deep
Yeah.
conversations with people. And I just feel like I hit a peak of where that could go at the time where I was. So I'm going to bring something back. But like I said, like this is where these blog posts come in. Is right now I'm not in a place to necessarily sit and put out interviews like you're doing right now, but I am in a place where I can sit at my kitchen table and type away on my computer some thoughts and things like that that hopefully will relate to people. And so I'm figuring out other ways that I can get these things out there, but I'm also allowing myself to take time and not force anything, just because there's this, there's that need for like content, content, content. What are you putting in the world? If you're not doing something right now, then you're fucking up. And I'm like, no, I can't force anything. I'm going to really try to work on something until that feels like it is ready to come out of me. And there will be a time when I am totally filled up all the way to the top and I'm mid, bam, here we go. Here it comes. But until that happens, I don't know what my next thing is going to be. I have some ideas. I'm just not quite ready to put them out there yet. And, part of it is me just last night, being around friends again that I haven't seen in a long time, being back in the comedy club environment, laughing my ass off. That's the best. And that's when I go home and I'm inspired. And I just need to like I said, I write every day. And just doing that, at some point, some star will start to shine and I'll be like, oh, the ding went off. Here it is. This is the idea. Because that's exactly how Achilles heel happened. That's exactly how my book happened. That's how everything I do happens. It marinates for a long time. And then I go, oh, this is the answer right now. So I don't know yet, but this helps a lot.
It's absolutely wonderful. Now, where can we keep up on the blogs? I know you have through Instagram, you do the links. Where else can we find?
Hoopercomedy.com. As soon as you go to my website within like 30 seconds, it will pop up to subscribe to my email list. I email like once a month. And it's only because something has happened that I think you might be interested in. It's not some daily like word vomit. It's just, hey, I did write a new blog, or I have a new special coming out, or here's my tour dates, whatever it may be. It's something where I'm not going to be annoying to you, because we all have the daily spam emails from something we never signed up for. And that's not what I want. So right now, what I'm mainly putting out is just things for you to read that are hopefully a little inspirational and very silly. And I write them in a conversational tone. So it doesn't I don't want you to be like, oh, this guy's trying to help me. But I am, just by helping myself. Writing these blogs, it really is personal, but I write them in a way that like I'm talking to you, like as if we've had this conversation. But many things I've said in this conversation could have easily been a blog post, but they're coming out in this form. So now they'll be in right now. That's the best way I can get them out, because I'm not on stage. I'm not releasing clips for the most part. I'm showing you parts of my brain and parts of my trauma that I'm going through, but also my wins and the sweet parts that are happening all the time. So hoopercomedy.com. Long answer to a short question.
I'm looking forward, and I'm excited for you getting back on stage tonight, because that's something that I've been kicking around. And it's like, okay, every time I think that I'm getting closer to getting back on the stage, it's like, okay, COVID is kind of settled down around here, but now we got RSV, there's the flu going around here, there's a stomach bug. And it's just like, I just want to just get back on stage, because again, to me, that's one of my best therapies. I don't know if my comedy career will ever go anywhere, but I'll tell you this much. Nothing gives me, like you said, you got to find your therapy. I mean, I do a couple of things down here in the basement. I sit down on the drums. I do the bearded babble. I do a couple of things, but being up on that stage, I'm just excited knowing that you're going to be back up on it tonight.
Thanks.
I'm just feeling like I cannot wait to get back up there. And again, I don't care. It's that same feeling. I don't care about my material. I've still been working, writing here and there, not as much as I should. When I get up there, I'm probably going to bomb. It's not going to be that good. It's not going to be that fluid. It's the fact that I'm going to be up there. That's the most important thing. And then from there, it just gets easier. I just got to get back to it, and I just got to continue it again. I need that. And again, you've just inspired me. We're going through all this, and there's a part of my head going, get back to open mic, get back to open mic, get back to open mic. This is important.
And you will. Like I said, when you know it's time, when you've let it brew long enough and you go, okay, that's it. This week, I'm doing it. I'm picking a day when I know that my wife will be home with my son and my daughter, so that I know everyone is taken care of. And I'm taking 3 hours out of my day to go to this place. And if you kind of just like give yourself that little like schedule ahead of time, not just think like, okay, I got to do it, but like know where the open mic is and say, okay, this Thursday, I'm doing it. I don't care what happens. Like you said, I'm just going to do it. And if you kind of just think of it like that, you'll get to a point when you'll explode if you don't. And you know, I wasn't quite there yet. Like I could still go a little longer. I just didn't want to. People started offering me things, and I was like, okay, let's just go. Let's just get back. And as soon as I was back there last night at the store and the Improv, I wasn't even like, I wasn't even expecting to perform, but just being in that environment is something where the energy is palpable. And I need that right now, because I have been sitting and stewing, just watching way too much TV. Yeah, just you get to that point where you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Yes.
So yeah, you'll know when it's time.
That's again inspiring. Loving everything you do. And now knowing, like I said, there's going to be a change in Alex Hooper's life. We're gonna see what the next chapter is going to bring. I am looking forward to that chapter. I am looking forward to sitting down with you again very soon. And I'm going to put this out there too, Alex. I'm always trying to do my thing here. You're always trying to do your thing. If I can ever assist you in anything, if I can ever work with you on anything, if there's anything that you ever want to go back and forth with, whether it's comedy, whether it's life, whether it's anything, just know that I'm always here. Again, I think you're just one of those people that I absolutely love, inspire. I look for your posts. You bring a smile to me, whether you're going through good or whether you're going through bad. You just have that energy that I just know is in the world that just makes me smile. And I'm grateful to you for that.
I feel the same way. And I think your audience should know, Andy and I have never met. I think that's important to know that we've never met in real life. Like we connected through this platform and realized that we had similar views on the world around us. And that's the reason why we're doing this podcast right now, is simply because he reached out to me one day. I don't even know how it happened initially. Somewhere on the line, somebody fed me something you were going, I saw something, and that was, maybe I made a comment. I don't even know what happened, but here we are having a very real conversation simply because we took the time to reach out and do that little thing. You asked me, you're like, I got to have you on Bearded Babble. I want to talk about everything. And this is therapy, like you said. So, this can happen, people. If you're listening to this going like, I don't know enough people, blah, 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 reach out to somebody. Maybe the first couple of people will be like, I don't have time for this, I'm doing my own shit. But maybe one person will be like, oh, I connect with that feeling. I see you as a human. Yeah, let's do it.
And the great thing is every single person has an amazing story to tell, whether, they're a huge celebrity or whether they're sitting in their basement like me. Everyone has a story to tell, and someone is going to take something away from it. And that's what I'm grateful that I'm able to do here, is to share your story, to share what you've gone through, how you deal with it, how you inspire, where you find inspiration from, and how laughter is the best medicine. And the most important thing, laugh at everything.
Everything.
Everything. That's the number one thing. And my wife and I were actually talking in one of the past babbles how at nighttime we watch a lot of TV and we're brutal. We've thought about like recording us watching TV. We are brutal. And it's a lot of people don't know that side when you have that deep, dark comedy. And you want to because everybody thinks that, and listen, you're a prime example. A lot of people look at you and they go, oh, that's that guy from AGT that was mean. No, he was hilarious. You have to understand, and that's the thing too, about a lot of people don't understand in the world of comedy, roasting can sound brutal, but if you're roasting someone, it's usually coming from a place of love.
Jeff Ross's book, it's called We Only Roast the Ones We Love. It's that simple. I'm thinking about you in a way that is deep and meaningful and trying to find your flaws to laugh at you. And so we can laugh together about it. I love being, I told people all the time when I was in the hospital, I was like, you know, when I got cancer, I was like, roast away, people, because you can tell me that I'm thinking about you and I support you and I hope you're doing okay. That's great. But so is my love language of you are a goblin troll who deserves everything you're getting. And I'm perfectly okay with that part of it too. So hit me.
Find the humor in it and laugh at everything. Again, Alex, extremely grateful for this. I am looking forward to doing this again. I am looking forward to seeing what's next with you. I hope people check everything out. I hope they follow the blog. I hope they learn. I hope they love, and I hope that they're inspired.
Thank you, Andy. This was really, really nice. I really appreciate it.
What would you like to leave the people with?
Oh man,
let's get a lollipop, because when was the last time you did a lollipop? You had
I
a
haven't
lollipop,
done one.
and you know
I haven't done one in a while.
I think cancer got in the way of the lollipop. So
cancer got in the way of the lollipops for sure. You know, here's a daily lollipop is if there is someone that you haven't talked to in a long time in your life, reach out to them, because you never know if they just won millions of dollars and want to give you some of it. So don't be afraid to reach out to that person in high school. Be like, I was just thinking about you. And then who knows what kind of riches will be bestowed upon you. Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Keep the world laughing. Play the Mega Millions, because I think it's up to over $1 billion.
Yeah.
And we'll go buy an island somewhere and have some fun.
Bam. Andy, it was a pleasure, man. Love you.
Alex, peace, love, laughter. I thank you again.
Bye, buddy.